Hello, everyone. Coach Rogers here with Career Coach Talk. Thank you for joining us for another part of our interview series. We have another, of course, awesome person to introduce you to, an inspirational leader. This is Miss Marlo Higgins. Now, Miss Marlo Higgins is an author, speaker, podcaster, motivator, and coach. She knows success. As the only Chief Inspirational Officer, Marlo Higgins specializes in motivational and strategy-based business performance coaching. For the past 30 years, Marlo has been in the people business, building multi-million dollar sales teams, helping individuals break free from self-doubt, allowing them to perform with peace and ease. Marlo is the author of Making of a Maverick, Building Champions in Business and in Life. She hosts the 22 Motivational Minutes podcast and has been praised by both entrepreneurs and corporate executives. Marlo has been featured in Forbes.com and has been a guest on numerous other podcasts, including the Conscious Millionaire. I'd like to introduce you guys, the Career Coach Talk audience, to the wonderful Miss Marlo Higgins. Hello, Marlo. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Hello.
Oh man, we are doing great. Even in times that are difficult, we can still find a silver lining. So thank you for spending time with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity, Roger. This is fantastic.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and dive on to it. We like to just dive in with both feet into this topic right now. So everyone's dealing with COVID, as you're well aware, and people need to continue to be successful, continue to be upbeat. Can you tell us how has COVID affected you and your business, and how are you moving forward?
You know, that is such a great question, and it truly is top of mind for absolutely everyone who's listening to this, right? What has happened to us, because nobody went looking for anything that is going on in our businesses and our lives today. And so, with the pandemic, I really label it as like having fear and uncertainty. And so the way that would look at supporting that is helping people, overcome the mindset, overcome that fear that they're experiencing with actions that they can take. And so uncertainty, just make a decision. Try to get as much conviction as possible. Try not to vacillate day to day, but really say, you know what, this is the routine that I need to follow based on the goals that I have set, and then continue to, take action on a regular basis. That's going to help you kind of overcome that fear, because you're filling up all of your time and energy with action-based actions than, instead of just things that are scaring you. So my advice is like, create healthy boundaries, manage expectations, do a few little things that will stop that spin of fear on an ongoing basis.
So what are some of the things that inspires you to continue to be positive and upbeat in this time?
Well, it's a God talent to be naturally wired as just a positive, optimistic person. I mean, that truly is something that I don't have to practice. It's something that I've really taken that natural talent and leveraged, because I know so many people need the type of optimism that others have. Not all of us are wired to think like that. And so I always like to say that inspiration is vision driven and motivation's goal driven. And there's a really big difference between those two, because if someone is not feeling motivated, then they clearly don't have set goals that they need to be striving to achieve. But if they're not inspired, right, if they're just feeling flat and they don't feel like there's any possibility or any what if, that's really creating the vision of what's possible and trying to understand, if you could make anything happen, even in the midst of a pandemic, even in the midst of feeling that everything is so uncertain, if you could make one thing happen, what would that be? And just by setting the complete conviction of clarity with that vision, that will help inspire you to keep going every day.
So one of the things I heard you say that kind of stuck with me just now, you said that inspiration is vision driven and motivation is goal driven. So that kind of punctuates the necessity of having a vision and having goals, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's important. And so, that underlining tone of, we always talk about being motivated or being inspired, being positive, But what I try to do is really anchor those into tangibles, right? So instead of just talking about, being inspired, actually let's dig deeper and let's figure out how we can be inspired. And it really starts out, with just understanding what vision is possible for you. What if you could have anything happen today, this week, this month, without any barriers or obstacles, what would that be? And just allowing yourself to step into that space and dream and to plant a vision right there, what that's going to do is just naturally inspire your actions.
Now, right quick, I kind of want to dive into the tangibility anchoring that you mentioned. Could you give us an example of how to anchor a vision into a tangible, something that you can taste, smell, see, hear?
Absolutely. Because what we have to do is, when we set that vision, it's one thing to say, I want to make $150,000 this month. Okay. That would be like kind of setting out and it's, to inspire towards something. But then what we need to do is break that down into a granular space, into benchmark actions. And so that's where those goals come in. So let's just say if in the next 30 days, we want to make $150,000, what are like 3 to 5 benchmarks? And those benchmarks are actions we can take that will move us closer to that $150,000 outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can kind of hear the difference, but that vision of saying, that is what I want to do. Well, then we work backwards and say, okay, what's it going to take? And it's within those benchmarks, that's where you can create the tangibles.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't become just this thought, it's an actual action. And it's within the action that it becomes the tangible.
Interesting. So as with the people that you work with, your clients and customers that work with you, what are some of the common mistakes you see that across the board that they tend to make in this space?
Overwhelm, right? They allow themselves to just get inundated with overwhelm. And when you think about it, I mean, when you're overwhelmed, right, everything feels hard, everything is cluttered, everything, it's just difficult. And so what I like to do is really help people build profitable and sustainable business without the, decision overwhelm, fear and uncertainty. When I say we're overwhelmed, it really comes down to the definition of overwhelm is unmade decisions. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed in your business, it's really stopping and asking, what decisions do I need to make? And the minute that you step into that and you start taking those decisions, that overwhelm goes to bay. It just sits to the side.
Okay, Marlo, I'm sorry. I've never heard that before. I've never heard the definition of overwhelm being unmade decisions. So if I'm hearing correctly, if we feel overwhelmed, if we can begin to immediately start going down the path of actually making actionable decisions, it'll pull us out of that state.
Absolutely, 110%. Because it's, as entrepreneurs, we think about all these things that we need to do, right? And so our mind is filled with all of these thoughts and these feelings, and everything is just churning at such a fast pace. But if you were just to stop, take a deep breath and say, okay, what do I need? What do I need right now? And quickly you'll say, these are the 3 things I need the most, and then make a decision on those 3 things. And immediately that overwhelm is no longer that big thing that's hanging over you. It becomes a to-do list, and it's really actionable. And then you basically have created the playbook of what you need to do next, what actions or directions you need to go next.
Okay, I hope you're putting that in a book and audio book and something, because people need to consume that right there. That was a very powerful piece of information right there.
Thank you. Yeah, I have written a book, The Making of a Maverick, Building Champions in Business and in Life. So there are some nuggets and sprinkles of when I speak about mindset and the power that it has. It definitely is part of that foundation in the book.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So let me ask you something a little bit closer to home. How has COVID affected your ability to interact with people that's just close to you, your circle, and your family and associates?
That's fascinating, Roger. I have been blessed to, when I started my business in 2005, to really kind of set it up into the platform of serving clients at a nationwide level, being able to work from anywhere, right? And so what you would call a laptop lifestyle. So I can work my business, conduct business pretty much wherever I am located. But so when I say that, I've already somewhat built a foundation of how to serve my business or my clients at a very high level already in this platform. But what I'm finding with COVID is that so many people don't know how to do that. And so being able to share different tips and pointers and direction on how people can have their highest level of productivity and do it on these various different platforms, whether you're working with Zoom or, how you operate your meetings, how best to communicate during those meetings during this time. And yes, as humans, right? I've been in the people business since 1989. People have always been my product. Whether, I'm helping them find employment, get to the leadership, challenge that they need to overcome, whatever that is, and so when you're working with people, we need that human interaction. And so I've time personally on the phone with people, just reaching out. Sometimes we just need somebody to call us and say, hey, how are you doing? And everybody's impacted. It's really hard to not be around people, but you have to kind of do it in whatever way makes you feel most comfortable. And I don't think there's a magic bullet to that. And so, I've been safe, right? I've been very responsible. So, which means I've not been in restaurants. I've really not put myself out publicly with a lot of people, but I have stayed connected on the phone and on Zoom and all of those other ways.
Okay, thank you. So what have you been doing? You've done so much. So it sounds like you already had a business model that was COVID, quote unquote, COVID proof in a way, because you were basically virtual and very digital and automated how you were working with your clients pre-COVID. So what are some things that you're doing to continue to grow and scale your business now in this new normal?
Yeah. And the thing is, to help more people do some of those things, one of the strategies that I created was really important. It started with this one question is, Marlo, what should I be doing with my time? And if you think about it, I mean, how many times have you asked yourself that question, like, what should I be doing to really maximize, what I focus on, what actions I take? And so just to help people, not just me specifically through COVID, but if I can, help spread the understanding that if you follow a specific, mastery and time productivity formula, that it can really help you. And so, when I was asked that question, what should I do with my time? There's three core things that we should really focus on. So if you just wake up in the morning and say, if I just have these three things to do, it's going to be really simple. And those three things are grow, right? Grow personally and professionally. Serve, that's just doing our job, right? Serving in our craft, and then following up and following through. If you do those three things of grow, serve, and follow up, you will keep your business very active, very consistent, and ongoing. And so, when I try to share my knowledge with other people, it's really how I can help others do these very simple principles that can impact. And, and that was one of the things that that I learned early on as becoming an entrepreneur is helping people understand what should I do with my time. And so 30% focused on growth, 60% on service, 10% on follow up and follow through. That really gives you a clear baseline of what you should do with the time that you have.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you for that. I hope some of that's in the book as well.
Yeah, that's the 30, 60, 10. Yeah, the 30, 60, 10 formula. And, actually anybody who's listening to this, if they want to gain access to that, it's completely complimentary. If they'd like to download, they just go to go.marlohiggins.com and you can receive that free information.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I'm definitely going to make sure we share that with everyone here visually in a second. Well, a question I do have for you right now is, you came in with a lot of knowledge, pre-COVID. Like I said, you were already in the know and how to operate in a time like this, even before it hit. But is there anything that you learned that is new during this time that helped you with your business and helped you move forward?
I think the conversations I'm having a lot of the time right now, Roger, is, how helping people and really understanding that we really don't know how to communicate effectively with each other. And so before, you can be maybe in the office with somebody and you can pass by and you can strike a conversation. Well, now those opportunities really aren't presenting themselves as much as they have pre-COVID. And so teaching people, how to initiate those communication conversations, how to have those critical conversations when, you're not in those opportunities aren't presenting, any longer. And so helping people really learn how to communicate it at their highest level so they can best maximize, what they're doing and how they're doing it in a way that serves so many people.
Mm-hmm. That could be challenging, because we're so wired to kind of see human beings, especially in the initial learnings of how of a person. I meet somebody for the first time digitally is completely different from meeting people for the first time, saying face to face, and so many things you can observe and read body language and things of that nature. Do you have
Yeah.
any thoughts around that as far as how can we use some of the physical one-on-one tools that are things that we did observing people and reading people and learning from people in this new digital world?
Yeah, so what we're talking about there is emotional intelligence, right? And emotional intelligence, it's those soft skills. It's that eye contact. It's that, the way that you enter into a room, the way that you make people feel relaxed. Those things, unfortunately, are not as prevalent because we're not, we don't have those opportunities. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have to understand, how can we break through and have that level of high emotional intelligence, being able to read people and support them even in times where we have to do it with a teleconference or, digitally. And so it's really kind of helping people understand, first creating the awareness that we have to have emotional intelligence, and it can be by the types of questions that we ask,
Mm-hmm.
really can help kind of get us closer to being a little bit more connected that, we never really had to do before.
Yeah, so questions and then listening, active listening, um, as well, because because I've experienced that myself. Sit there and somebody can ask you a lot of questions, but then if they ask you a question, 10 minutes later that it you answered, 5 minutes ago, it can get
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of difficult. Yeah.
Well, there's a disconnect, right? And so just helping people understand and go in with intention, right? What is your desired goal or outcome of that conversation or of that meeting? And once you know firsthand before you even enter into that conversation, then you're better able to drive the direction and make sure that you go in with a clear intention and get the outcome that you were looking for.
Awesome. So tell us more about Marlo Higgins, the business. How can we reach out to you? How can we learn more about what you do?
Oh, wow. You're so generous to be able to ask. I really appreciate that. Like I said, we have a Maverick assessment that you can take, which gives you your archetype.
Mhm.
If you're a Maverick, a champion, or a player, and you can go to our website at marlohiggins.com and you can take the assessment. What that's going to do is help you understand at what level of clarity, action, confidence, and risk that you fall within. And those are the 4 key traits to being a high achiever, high performer on the Maverick ROI high performance system. We
Mhm.
also have our podcast, and that's anywhere that you can find on Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and it's 22 motivational minutes with Marlo, where we interview different entrepreneurs and business owners and their real conversations about how we can help people perform at their best. Also, you can join our Perform and Get Paid Facebook community over on Facebook, which we will
Okay.
interact and engage with you, answer questions, and really have that rich conversation. And then we also have a YouTube channel. So if you go to Marlo Higgins, your Chief Inspirational Officer, you'll find us on YouTube as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing the information with us. And one of the things I've asked every last guest on the Career Coach Talk Show is, what is your leaving an insight, last words of motivation or inspiration, or what do you like to leave the audience with today?
Well, now more than ever, I believe in these Maverick mantras, right? It's how
Mhm.
we talk to ourselves. And this is the mantra that I want to leave you with, that a setback is a setback or is a setup for a comeback. And so
Okay.
when I say that, if you have experienced a setback, repurpose that and just know that that is actually a setup for
Mhm.
your biggest comeback. And so there are ways that you can overcome what has happened, whether it's been, you've had some financial hardship or your business has been impacted. If you can look through a different lens and say, you know what, this opportunity is a true setup for my greatest comeback, that will reposition your mindset and your ability to bounce back from that.
That's an awesome reframe. Thank you for that. Absolutely. And I 100% agree. A lot of times we allow ourselves to let the problems that are obstacles, make us stumble, but actually the stumbling is what makes us duck in the right opportunity to miss something that's going to hit us, and then it make us look up and see more opportunities and a better scenario for ourselves after the fact. So thank you so much for sharing that insight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. So thank you guys again for joining us here at Career Coach Talk. We have the wonderful Miss Marlo Higgins here today. Please reach out to her. You've seen the information. Go check out her website. Go take that assessment and interact with her on her various social media platforms. And we look forward to seeing you guys join us again here. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching today's episode of Career Coach Talk. Are you ready for your next professional version of yourself? Come visit us at mdself.com. Schedule your free consultation or reach out to us via email at coach@mdself.com.